Morning, everybody. 8:10 a.m. What is it? December 3rd. I'm battling a little cold here, so I apologize if you hear occasional sniffs. You could tell already my voice sounds a little different. Basically, just have a runny nose and like a kind of a cough. But we move on. So yesterday, QQQ did some catch up, made all-time highs. The SPY also, SP 500, made highs, all-time highs as well. And kind of like a mixed market yesterday. Basically, the overall market was down, but tech was up. Specifically, communications and technology, which is a lot of the Nasdaq, right? The NQ, not the Nasdaq exchange, the actual NQ 100. So that kind of propelled the market. And when some of those heavyweight sectors are up like that, it's very hard for the market to go down. I can give you a visual. Give me one sec while I put this up and give you my internals. This is my number one thing I look at. And let's just look at it together. Okay, so yesterday, these are from the open, not from the previous close. All right, tech was up over 1% at one point. Finished the day up 0.87. Financials got hammered, specifically Berkshire Hathaway. Okay, that was down 1.09%. Healthcare was also down. That recovered some. But this, whenever you have a mixed top four sectors, it's kind of like the market's going to move like going uphill with a piano on its back. Okay? And you can see discretionary was also up in communications. So basically, technology, that's your Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, right? In communications, at your Google, your Meta, and your consumer discretion at your Amazon, your Tesla. Okay? So if you, this is the graphical representation below of the bars are actually how the S&P 500 moves. It moves by market cap weight. Okay, so you can see we were negative, and then around 11:30 we flipped to positive. Okay, this is what moves markets. Now these numbers are very benign, which means the market's not going to move super high. Okay, now if you look at the white line, that is equal weight. See how the divergence of equal weight was so weak, but then look from around what was this, 11 o'clock, it trended upwards, and that's when the market started to just kind of creep higher, and you notice this little ramp up here. So I love this because it shows you the capabilities of the market. So yesterday I knew most likely there wasn't going to be some outsized move based on these internals. Also, these buying or selling, buying slash selling to buying ratios. So in the NYSE exchange, whenever you have a 1-to-1 ratio, doesn't matter. Red means selling, green means buying. You basically are not really going to get an outsized move. It's just doesn't happen unless all of a sudden a catalyst happens or something. Okay. So generally, you want to see these all in agreement. If I zoom out, I can just show you how this graph usually looks. Let's just say in a typical day, and we go, let's say here, right? That's Friday. See how the equal weight and the market cap are together? That's going to push the market higher very easily. So, great indicator. I love it. Just thought I'd show you guys that. And there's always a reason, okay? That's how I like to look at the markets. There's always a reason of why it's doing what it's doing. I'm never surprised, okay? There's a reason. Like, did I think I was in a long yesterday? A nice long yesterday. I still owe you guys a video, but me having the cold, I owe two videos now. So I had a nice long yesterday, and I pretty much expected not to get some big outsized move. So nice trade. And again, I'll do a video, but me yesterday I was blowing my nose and coughing like crazy. So uh, hopefully I can not sniff too much and kill your eardrums in this video. All right. So enough of that long-winded explanation. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile, market profile to find structure in these markets, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That's my edge. That's how I look at the markets. And I like to share that with everybody, all right? Because once steaming, oh, there's a steam again. Steamer. Um, yeah, so that's how I look at the markets. All right, so yeah, I said yesterday, in this every day at 8, 10 a.m., all right, hopefully you subscribe. Let them go for 300 now. We're over 200. Let's go over 300. I do this every day, 8, 10 a.m., and give you the lowdown of the markets. All right? The lowdown of the markets, the recap, the news, economic calendar, daily charts, and then the main event at around 8:30 a.m. I do the ES and the Nasdaq futures analysis, and I go and give you blueprints. All right, long and short trade scenarios. Once the market opens, it's brand new. It's brand new data, right? So I don't know what that's going to be. And actually, yesterday, part of my trade was a demand zone that appeared close to the market open that I couldn't chart previous. And that was my long. So I think my long was at 60.52. So pretty good trade. We'll go over that in a second of why I did that. Um, I'm a little out of it, I think. All right. Anyway, like that trade I was talking about, I like to make videos that are educational, and you can check them out. All right, on my YouTube Shorts, also my ex at Gonzo719, I post my trades. All right, like I said, the YouTube Shorts as well, and you can check out Gonzo719 Trader on at TikTok. Okay, and just leave me a comment. Check them out. All right, I owe you two videos, so I gotta do them once I not feeling like I am. I don't feel that sick. It's just that yesterday I couldn't even. I was blowing my nose so much. It was I couldn't make a video. So that's why I got two of them on deck for you guys. All right. Now let's get into this. After my long-winded monologue there, let's get into the futures. Let's see what's moving markets. All right. Let's see what's moving markets. And Chief, I still owe you a call back. I'm assuming if I know you, you will call me about Trump in the Middle East. I could be wrong. You're a little. She's the war trader. So maybe you weren't, but the Gaza hostages and Trump saying they'll pay. Maybe that's why you're calling me. I'm not sure. Let's get into the watch list here. All right, let's look at crude. Crude's getting some love today, up 1.60%. Silver up 1.41. Dollars up 0.45. 10-year yield continues to be pesky, up 0.32. Gold up 0.29. ES up 0.03. Russell's up 0.02. The Dow is down 0.02. Nasdaq is down 0.06. 30-year bonds being sold. Ether down 0.67, Bitcoin down 1.22, and the VIX is down 1.33%. We're down to a 13 VIX. Okay, not a lot of fear at all. Moving on to the Mag 7 Plus, AMD leading the pack, up 1.22, followed by Broadcom, followed by BA, Boeing up 0.36. Go to the laggards. Really, anytime the laggards. Microsoft, I don't remember what that was, but there was a negative news for them. Um, I have to look into that again. Tesla is down 1.08, 1.08%. That's the laggard today is Tesla. Moving on, top sectors. Leading the pack, Uber. Uber's up 0.67%, followed by Chevron up 0.58, Exxon up 0.46, Goldman Sachs up 0.23. Let's go to laggard. Really not really a laggard here. Procter and Gamble down 0.12, Snowflake down 0.18. Let's move on to the swing trade list. Who's leading here? Super Microcomputers. They are really getting bought up. That thing was down to $20 not too long ago. Up 6.64%. Marvel Assemi up 2.21. AstraZeneca's up 1.92. CVS got an upgrade up 1.40. Micron's up 1.10. Citibank up 1.09. Okay, let's move to the laggard. Laggards here. Mara down 3.67%. Riot down 1.82. SoundHound 1.78, down 1.79. MicroStrategy down 1.66. Bitcoin ETF down 1.08. That will wrap up that list. All right, moving on to the sectors, the guts. Let's see who's leading the pack today. That is energy. Energy's up 0.47, followed by financials up 0.24, followed by semis up 0.19. Nothing's really crazy strong, and energy does not move the market. Technology is down 0.02, which is nothing, and discretionary is down 0.02, which is Tesla being down, but the whole sector is really not down. So really nothing down. This is not surprising. All right, moving on to the economic calendar now. Let's go here. Let's see what we have today. Today we have Jolts Jobs at 10 a.m. That's Jolts Jobs at 10 a.m. And followed by Fed Kugler at 12:35 and Fed Goolsby at 3:45. Okay? That's the economic calendar today. Now, in the financial juice, China bans germanium and gallium exports to U.S. in principle. All right? My understanding, they make semiconductors, and it's kind of their little thing with uh, the U.S. doing semiconductor curbs. All right? Um, that's something to look into. Now, what other news we have today? Let's look at it. Delaware judge rejects Musk's 56 billion Tesla pay. BlackRock to buy HBS investment for 12 billion for major private credit push. Microsoft, there's the Microsoft news. Microsoft faces UK lawsuit over cloud computing licenses. Microsoft faces legal action in Britain over a claim that thousands of businesses using cloud computing services provided by Amazon, Google, and Alibaba could be paying higher license fees to use Windows Server software. AT&T expects over 18 billion in free cash flow in 2027, driven by 5G and fiber expansion. Here we go. This is the China retaliation, I believe. U.S. chips are no longer safe to buy. Chinese industry body says Chinese companies should be wary of buying U.S. chips as they are no longer safe and buy locally instead. Four of the country's top industry associations said in a rare coordinated response to Washington's curbs. All right, let's look what Micron's moving. Micron, the company lowered its third quarter revenue forecast on Monday and announced the closure of its wafer manufacturing factory in Arizona as the chipmaker looks to restructure under the interim CEO, Steve Shanghai. Okay. Now, there's more chip news. We just talked about that. All right. General Motors, I believe, have recalls. Yeah, they're recalling about 132,000 trucks due to concerns about tailgates. What else here? Tesla. We talked about the Elon Musk. let's see some movements here. Citigroup raises target price. There we go. FedEx raises target price. Ulta Beauty raises target price. That's what's going on there. Now, if you go to upgrades and downgrades, I don't even know if this will be for today. Nope. That's interesting. They haven't upgraded it for today. So, I can give you another list here. Give me 1 second. We'll go to upgrades, downgrades. There's always a way. Okay. These are upgrades, downgrades for today. Anything to note here? Citibank upgraded to outperform. CVS, I told you about that. Okay, Upstart, that upgrade. Now, downgrades. FedEx got a downgrade. All right, that's what's going on there. Now, as far as I think it's economic calendar we covered, news. I think we can get ready for daily charts here. Give me 1 sec while I pull that up. All right, let's talk about daily charts here. All right, let's look at the SPY together. So we had a little 3-day balance, and then Friday you popped over that, right? And then yesterday you got some continuation, made a new all-time high, right? Haven't touched the 90 EMA daily in a while. All these moving averages are starting to fan out, which is kind of very bullish. Okay, where are we now? 603.90. We are right towards the highs of yesterday. Nothing bearish about this. All right, all-time highs. No resistance above. Right. So let's look at the futures. All right. So in futures, we're right at last week's highs, last month's highs. Okay, and really like a doji candle. Today actually is very low volume right now. Very low volume. Um, yeah, so we're at all-time highs. Not really much to say. There's not much to analyze here. If you look at the big picture here, we're just holding above last week's and last month's highs. Okay, made all-time highs yesterday. That's really all you got to say about this. Let's move on to the Qs. The Qs here yesterday, look, broke a downtrend right there. Yesterday with that big move up, they finally trying to catch up to the rest of the market because they've been relatively weak. Okay, so this downtrend line is now taken. They made an all-time high yesterday, 516.26. Very big move, and the move was made fairly early. It drove up, and there's a big level in futures that I talked about yesterday that it did hit, and it did accept value above it. Big value, big level there. We'll talk about it later. 515.20 is where it's at now. So that's about right here. About at yesterday's close. Okay, let's look at the futures. Now, futures is not at all-time highs. Okay, 2213.40.75 is the all-time high. We are not there yet. Okay, got some work to do in futures. Okay, so you can see right here, we're nestled inside yesterday's range in futures. Okay, so the level to look for is 213.40 is all-time highs in futures for the Nasdaq. Okay, now you can see moving averages are starting to fan out. Excuse me. Okay, that's the futures. All right, let's look at the triple-headed monster here, and that 10-year yield, that little pesky 10-year yield. Remember this resistance I talked about, right? Well, that caused some selling, couldn't get over that. Now we're at the 200-day, 50-day moving average. We could drop down to 3.9 yield. Okay, let's just see how this shakes out, right? We'll see how this all shakes out. Let's go to the dollar. That dollar pulled back to here, 2087 moving average, bounced a little bit. And let's see with Trump and the tariffs and the BRICS, he's threatening more tariffs. Let's see how that affects the dollar. The VIX is dead after the election, an uncontested election. Look at this now. The fear is going away. Okay? Not a lot of fear in these markets. Let's go over to the main event now. And that would be our futures. NASDAQ and ES futures. Alrighty. And then we're going to talk about structure here. Alright, so there's nothing bearish about this at all. Now, we're still in ultimate balance. That's probably about to change. Okay, ultimate balance level was 60.15. Okay, that was the most traded price of the week and the month. You can see there's volume popping here. In the 24-hour chart, the most traded price of the week has moved higher to 60.62. That most likely will move the most traded price of the week up. All right, and that's just what you want to see for higher prices. That's what you want to see for higher prices. Okay, you could even see your immediate level is happens to be the most traded price of yesterday, 60.62, and price is holding above it. Okay, so all bullish signs. You can see the profile here has a bullish imbalance to it, right? Normal profiles have this look to it. So more room to the upside. Like I said, if you look at the options market, when I look at the gamma levels, there's not much negative gamma. There's a big skew to calls, which is typical because it's Santa Claus rally time. Um, Unless there's some exogenous like catalyst, we're probably going to melt higher, right? So um, yesterday, let's look at yesterday. Opened up, right? Pushed down, came back down again. That's where I got long when it came back down there again. All right, and then it kind of just hung out. Let's just open this up so we can actually see it. Maybe I can that. So here we go. So yeah, the market kind of like pushed up. I believe it pushed up, pushed down, and when it came back down again, that's when I got in. I believe I got out around here somewhere. And then it did one final push towards the close. Okay. That's what the market did yesterday. Not a lot of range yesterday at all. So now let's look at some levels together and see what I'm seeing. All right. Now 60.68, let's call it. You got a weak high here. You got your overnight high and yesterday's high kind of together. So that's kind of a breakout point. Bulls want to break it. Bears want to sell there. Okay. we do have an interesting level here. This is last week's around 60.58. This is last week's highs, last month's highs. Notice overnight came right to the month anchor VWAP for the month. Remember, this month's new. I don't put too much weight into it, but it is there. So around 60.57, buyers could step up there. Okay. And then we have a demand here. That's the demand zone I used yesterday to go long. Okay. And I'm trying to think what else is there to talk about. That's about it there, about levels. And I think right there, we can get right into scenarios because it's fairly simple. And like I said, this environment, low volume, the ranges are small. We got a 13 VIX. Let's get right into scenarios here. It's not going to be rocket science today. It never really is. Um, let's go here. All right. So I'm going to make a big um, area here from that 60.58 down to this demand zone. Pretty much, I want to see what happens if we come into this area. Okay. Along with the 60.58 week high. Okay. And the market could do a multitude of things here. So, what I would like to have happen, um, I would like to see something like this. Either we pull back to yesterday's most traded price, kind of hold this level, and break that week high, and you make new all-time highs. Okay. Also, could pull right back to this month-to-date VWAP and last week and last month's highs. Do the same thing. Of course, we could always do this, break it, pull back here, and then go higher. That's all I'm going to be looking at. All right. Whenever you're at all-time highs, um, it's easier to just go long. Okay. We're in a bullish market. Like yesterday, I'll give you an example. There was a short that I was looking at because of the NASDAQ. Right? And I was like, okay, tech's leading, like I showed you guys earlier. I don't like the short when tech's leading, right? That's number one. Number two, I don't like to go long into supply. NASDAQ was in supply. And NASDAQ was, I'm going to show you the level in a second, but 211.90 in the NASDAQ was a very important level. I wanted to see the market pull back so I could get long. Because in this environment, in the Santa Claus rally stage, I know the options market's very bullish. I'd rather be long, even though I saw a short, and the short was short-lived. So I waited for my long. Now, could I have went short and then flipped long? I guess. However, I would like myself to be more calm and wait for the long, and that's what I got. So, just giving you a little explanation. Now, as far as shorts, not a fan of it. Okay. Now you do have a little supply zone right here. And what I would say is this. All right. I'm not looking for these unless there's something that's so glaring. You could see this. This is one. Break that week high. Remember, 60.58. If you break that like this, boop, and get some selling, okay, that could be a possible short. And if you come through the most traded price of the week, you need to break this level, 60.58. Boom. To see is you got a lot of, that's what I'm saying. You got a lot of things that the buyers are going to want to step up to. And I would say maybe you test yesterday's lows. Okay, maybe you test yesterday's lows. Okay. This would be outsized. I don't think this happens, but you could go down to around 60-40 with some weakness. There's so much demand here. This is a hard path for bears. That's honestly all I'm looking at, and I'm honestly going to be just looking for longs. Unless the market shows me something different, unless the market's weak. Okay, let's move on to the NASDAQ, and I'll explain to you the levels, what I was thinking about yesterday. Okay, it's very important. Very, very important. Now, the 24-hour session right now, this is 24-hour session basically, is showing me this price here at 212.20. You can see the volume right here, right? It's saying that 24 hours is the most traded price of the last week and the last month. So powerful level. Okay. Now yesterday 211.90 right here. I'm in the community and I was telling them, hey, watch this level. Initially should act as a wall. And then gauge the market strength on if you accept value above it or you get rejected. Right? And let's look at the movement of the NASDAQ. Okay. I want to show you the movement. So look what happened. So when we opened, you just pushed down, drove, big move in the NASDAQ, right? And what happened? Look at my level. Look at this area. Came right up here, got rejected. Came right up here, got rejected. Came right up here, and it was like, okay, it's struggling with this level. And then it went boom and accepted value above it. That is bullish, but however, it's a big level. Okay. When this move happened, I was like, okay, that's a big move. How much more juice is left in there? I don't know. Okay. But you got to think of those things in probabilities. Sometimes I forget about it. Sometimes I just want to trade. And I know these things and I don't follow them. Like, why do I have this on my chart? Oh, well, it's a monster level, right? I talked about it yesterday. Whoever was watching me live yesterday. 211.90, I kept saying. 212. Big level. And then you have this big 12-hour supply zone that caused selling. Okay? Actually sold off again when it reached this supply. Okay? Remember, Nasdaq has some catching up to do. All right? Now, as far as a profile, very ugly. Distribution, then you got thin. That's the move from yesterday. You got single prints all here. And then you have volume starting to accumulate here. If it stays here, it's going to have to chop through this supply. Okay? Now, remember, this level is the big level. Price is right here. Accepting value above it. That's bullish. Okay? Now we're inside yesterday's range. Look at the level. Let's see if I can make this a little more apparent. There we go. So this right here is the most traded price of yesterday. Look at the overnight low. Held that level, right? So that is an important level. Just extra confirmation of the 211.90 level, right? This is 211.86. So that level is a weak low, confluence low. You have the overnight low. You have the most traded price of yesterday, and you have the most traded price of the month. Buyers need to defend that, okay? However, look at this. If you break this, what do you have underneath here? Thin volume. In a weak market, that gets destroyed, right? And who makes an appearance here? Elfie. Toothpick should not hold up an elephant. So this toothpick, and that's the elephant. Now, if we were in a more bearish market, bearish structure, I would be like, whoa, this could get taken out. All right. It's still important. It's still important. Now, to the upside, we do have another weak high. Okay. Now, you hear me talk about value a lot. Value is very important in market profile and volume profile. So, the value area high, 212.40, right here, 70% of the trading is in this area, this value area. Okay. Happens to line up with the overnight high, 21243. So the overnight is very important to us today. The highs and the lows. Okay. Midpoint yesterday, 21143. Lines up with the month to day VWAP right here. Okay. So you have a big, powerful 12-hour supply above us. A big major key level at the lows of the overnight. So I don't think this just crushes this, but we have to see. Let's get right into scenarios. Okay. So we can finish up here. Hopefully my sniffles and my voice isn't bothering you too much. All right, let's go to the bull. All right. So, key level right here. We already know we got this big area. Really going to concentrate, I would say, almost all the way here. Because there's always room for a bear trap. There's always room for a bear trap, especially in these markets. Okay? So, what could we see happen? Well, let's say we drive down, right? And remember, this level's key. This could cause a bear trap. The bear trap could go all the way down to 50% retracement of yesterday, month to day VWAP, beginning of single prints. Okay, now these single prints, man, we're in a bull scenario. If they are supportive, that is bullish. That's the other way you look at single prints. If single prints are supportive, that's bullish. So number one, I would like to see this hold right here, and you do get a lower high, and then we gotta work our way up, break that 21243, and start moving into this supply and see if we can make all-time highs in the Nasdaq. What we could see is the bear trap would be something like this, a little violent, little push down right into here, whoop, recovery, and then you got to get over that big level. But if you do, then you can work yourself up. All right. That's all I care about for the long. Now, bear time. You do have supply, a 12-hour one up here. It has caused selling twice. Okay. It has caused selling twice. Now, you are being supported by this major level. Remember, this in here is crucial for buyers. This is the weak high for buyers as well, but you just inverse it for sellers. Sellers want to step up here. All right, up into this area. So, what could happen? Couple things. If you push up into this area, maybe break yesterday's high, still in supply, and you get rejected, go through the open, you're going to need to do a lot of work to get through this area. Okay? If you do come down here, definitely would take some profits here. You want to see how we react in here. If we push through, start holding, holding, holding. Now, if this market is weak, I mean, not just, it's a little weak. Weak, you got single prints. Remember what I talked about. You got Elfie here. Toothpick should not hold up an elephant. This could rip, whoop, right down to yesterday's lows and come back to maybe 209.50. that market has to be weak. You can't have mixed internals. You need everything to be weak. Okay? That's really all I'm seeing. I mean, I got to see weak market to even think about it. Okay? That's it. Everybody, that is it for today. Okay? Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it makes sense. If it did, please smash that like button for me. That mean a lot. Okay? Now, hopefully you join me every day at 8 a.m., 8:10 a.m. Get the lowdown from your boy. Get the story of the markets. Get the recap from the previous day. Daily charts, market news, economic calendar, the whole shebang. And just subscribe. Set an alert. Let me talk to you. Have a cup of coffee. Have a cup of tea. Right? And just let me give you the summary of what's going on. Okay? I feel like I cover all bases here. You don't have to worry about the trading if you're not a trader. You could still watch the first 15, 20 minutes and get what's going on in the markets. Okay? All right. Now, we have our plan. Okay? Remember, I owe you 2 videos. So if you haven't already, check out my trading videos on my YouTube Shorts. Also at Gonzo719 on X. You also can check me out on TikTok, Gonzo719 Trader. I owe you 2 videos. I'm not coughing my head off or sniffing or blowing my nose or whatever. I can get those done. All right. Now, this market, lower volume. Okay. Let me go to the volume. I'll show you the volume real quick. It is lower volume today. So this is relative volume. Very low today. Okay. So this right here is your ES. That represents 50% of normal volume over the last 20 days. That is very low. Let's look at the NASDAQ. That is at, what is that, 53%? Half of normal trading volume. Ugh. That means smaller ranges, less volatility with the 13 VIX. Not the best trading environment. Okay? Not the best. So I can, in trading, obviously now, my risk, let's say if I'm generally using a 4.5 point risk in futures, I can probably use a 3 point risk today, right? Because the moves aren't going to be as big. All right. So anyway, everybody have a great day. Stay patient, stay green, and I'll see everybody tomorrow.